Okay, we're doing the 2014 marginal costing question. This is question 8a. And all I'm doing in this is the calculations. On a separate video, I'm going to do how to do the break-even point for this and any other question. So we start off by laying out our sales and our costs, and we put our formulas down. The second formula here is just restating this one here. So I bring fixed cost, which is a minus, bring it over as a plus. So I add it on to profit, and then I divide that by the contribution, which is the name given to the sales minus variable cost figure. Some people may find this formula more useful, but this is the formula I tend to use all the time. So I need to work out my sales price first of all. So 480,000 divided by the 16,000 we're planning to sell, so that our sales price is €30 per unit. We need to divide our costs up now to the variable and fixed elements. So it says materials, direct labour, they're variable. So 120,000 divided by 16,000, that gives us our variable cost per unit, and there's no fixed costs. We do something similar for our direct labour. You divide our 110,000 by the 16,000 we're going to sell, and we have zero fixed costs. Factory overheads, it says a third are variable. So a third of 60,000 is 20,000. So 20,000, we divide that by 16. And then the remaining 20,000 taken away from 60 means there's 40 left, which are going to be the fixed element. Administration, it's 65,000 of administration is fixed, 65 goes there. So the total fixed then is going to be 105. And 65 taken from 105 means there's 40,000 left, so 40,000. We divide that by the 16,000 we're going to sell, so 2.5 per unit. So the total of all of our variable costs is going to be all of those numbers added together. Okay, and then that's the total of our fixed costs. So first thing we're asked to do is we're asked to work out our break-even point. So using the formula, sales is 30, 18.125 is our variable cost. We multiply that by quantity. Quantity is the unknown at break-even point. Take away from that our fixed costs, which is 105, and that will give us 0, because at break-even point we make no profit. So here we can use our bottom formula if we like. So quantity will be now our fixed cost, which is 105. We divide that by our contribution, which is our sales of 30 minus the 18,125, which is our variable cost. So that's units. So that's the minimum number of units we must sell. If you sell less than that, we're going to make a loss. If you sell more, make a profit. We need to turn that now into euros. So to do that, I'm going to use my sales revenue. So that's how much money I will take in if I sell that number of units of the 8,800 units. I could use the total cost as well. I'll get the same figure. So sales revenue is going to be €30 per unit multiplied by the 8,800. So if I sell €265,000 worth of gear, then I'm going to be in break even. If I sell more, I make a profit. If I sell less, I make a loss. Okay. So my margin of safety. So margin of safety is how much of a cushion I have, how much I can allow my sales to fall. So we're currently selling 16,000, or our forecast to sell 16,000 units. We have a break-even point of 8,842, so that means our margin of safety is 7,000 units. So we can allow our sales to fall by up to 7,000 units. If it falls by much more than that, then we're making a loss. Okay, so now move on to part 3. Now remember, I did say I'll be doing in a separate video, I'll be doing how to do the graph, okay, which is a fairly rough graph. Okay, so now in this one, certain things have changed. Okay, so we're going to restate our formula again, and see what has happened to some of our costs, and we're looking to find out how much profit we would make. So we're going to reduce the selling price by 5%. So that means our selling price is currently €30. 5% of that is 1.5. Take it away. So our new selling price is 28.5. What's happened to variable costs? It says nothing. It just says advertising is increased. So that's a fixed cost. So variable cost is going to be the same, 18.125. Our quantity is going to be increased to 19,000. We take away our, now it's our variable cost was 105. We have 5,000 added onto that, so it's 110. Okay, and that's going to be our new profit. Okay, so if we start working out some of the numbers here, so first of all we've got 28.5. So if I do that, 28.5 minus the variable cost figure, which I'll just take it from up here. Okay, and I'm going to multiply that by 19,000. So that gives us that amount of euros. I then take away from that the fixed cost, so that there I'll label as contribution. I take away from that fixed cost, which is 110, and that'll give me my new profit. Okay, so 87,125 is my new profit. So part 4. The number of units sold 26 to provide a profit of 20% of the sales revenue received from these units. So this is a little bit more complicated. So again, I'm sticking with the same formula. So number of units must be sold at €26. So it's 26. There's no change in fixed or variable costs. So it's minus 18.125 times Q. So the number of units, Q is the missing figure, minus fixed cost, which is 105. It's the original fixed cost, equals now the profit. The profit is going to be 20% of the sales revenue from the sales of these units. The sales revenue is going to be 20% of sales revenue is sales price. Sales price is 26 multiplied by the quantity. Okay, so I need to work out what all of that is going to be. So 26, let's see, 26 minus 18.125. So I just do that over here. 26 minus 18.125 is 7.875. Okay, so I'm going to end up with 7.875Q. Now if I bring my 105 over to the other side, equals 105 plus, now 20% of 26 is 5.2. Okay, multiply by Q. So put all the Q's on one side and everything else on the other side. So I'll end up with 7.875 Q minus, because this 5.2 was on the other side, so there's a plus, so minus 5.2 Q equals 105. Okay, so that means Q equals, now it's 105 divided by, and it's 7.875 minus 5.2. So there, the 7.875 minus 5.2, that was all the Q's that were on the left side. They were multiplying, so I'll bring them over and make them into a plus. So that's 39,526, and that's profit, so that means the answer is in euros. So we'll just label our answer. Okay, moving on to part 5. So again, we're trying to work out the profit. If commission was given to sales personnel, a commission on sales is going to be a variable cost. 1 extra per unit, and packaging, that's also variable cost, and sales increase, so fixed cost is not going to change. So it says sales is going to be increased to 34 per unit minus. Now the variable cost was it was 18.175. 5% of sales is going to have to be added onto that. So I'll just do a little 18.125 plus I'm going to add on to that the 5% commission. Now 5% of €34 is 7.7. Just check. 5% of 30 is 1. No, it's not right. I'll put it in here. Plus 5% of 34. Come back and work that out later. Plus the packaging, which is €1. So all of that is our contribution. Multiply that by the quantity. The quantity is going to be 17,000. Now no change fixed costs, so it's 105. And that gives us an answer of our profit. Okay. So just quickly working out over here. 34 times 0.05, you get 5%, 1.7. Okay, so that means my variable cost is going to be 18.125 plus 1.7 plus 1 for the packaging, so it's 20. So my formula now is 34 minus 20.825 multiplied by 17,000 minus 105, the original fixed cost, equals our profit. So if I start working out this part here, so 34 times, so 34 minus 20.825, multiply that by our 17,000. So that's the figure. That's going to be our contribution. We take away from that our fixed costs. Which is 105, and it gives our profit. Okay, I hope that makes a bit of sense, and enjoy.